Good evening, and thank you for coming to hear about the Wayfinder schools and Women for Wayfinder. My name is Nancy Pierce. I'm one of the hostesses tonight and one of the first members of Women for Wayfinder. This organization is really the brainchild of Lori Heinmans at Cindy Knowles and Cindy Knowles. If the two of you are here, please raise your hand. Cindy, thanks. On June 12th, in 2012, I don't know why I'm so nervous, my husband Chris and I hosted a gathering at our house to promote awareness and interest in the amazing work that is being done at the Wayfinder schools. You will hear more about the school from experts in a moment. That evening, after hearing the head of school, Dorothy Foote, speak about the proven success with this approach to education, and also a recent graduate speak about the change it made in her life and the prospects for her future. Heidi, Lori, and Cindy and I were inspired to find a way to raise funds that would allow the school to reach more of Maine's youth. Dorothy Foote, head of school, Emma Wilson, director of development, Susan Koch, a board member, Mary Herman, Lori, Cindy, and I met about 3 months later and decided a grassroots initiative using the power of women made a real sense, and we made a plan for Wayfinder for Women. Wayfinder for Women members make a financial commitment for 3 years of $500 a year each year. It is our hope that each member will encourage others to join and increase awareness of the schools. We have brochures and pledge cards available for you to take home with you tonight. This evening you will have the pleasure to hear from students and staff. So to begin, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Dorothy Foote, the head of school. Dottie earned her PhD in adolescent psychology after a career in banking. She combines the science of her research with practicality and business knowledge. Her approach to educating a population of underserved youth is being integrated into courses and institutions of higher learning. She is the genius behind this unfailing educational model. Please welcome my friend Dottie Foote.
We at Wayfinder Schools work with youth who thought just a year ago felt that they had little chance of finishing high school. And what I know with my background and through my colleagues' expertise, some of whom you're here tonight, is that you can completely flip a kid by pulling in love and strength and positive psychology, predictability, consistency, stability in their lives, predictability of food, predictability of health care, predictability of education and opportunities in adulthood. And so we work every day holding these kids close and flipping kids. I am honored as well with the number of women in this room. A lot of my study many, many years ago was through Carol Gilligan and feminist theory and gender issues, and a long, long time ago, and understanding the ethic of care. And I believe that's who we are tonight. And I believe that a lot of us in this room have had success as women and can turn around and be mothers to children and youth who in their histories have had a hard time and have had a lot of events in their lives that have allowed them to struggle and also allowed them to have opportunity, which is what we provide for them. So thank you all for the ethic of care that you bring with you, and as mothers together, let's help support these kids. There is obviously a tremendous need in Maine. Over 2,000 youth each year drop out of high school just in Maine. 1.3 million students drop out of high school across the country. I believe Maine can be a no dropout state, and that's my goal. I lead the Truancy Dropout Alternative Ed Committee at the state level, and that's our goal as a team, is to consider Maine a no dropout state. Every student in our state deserves a high quality education and access to a high quality education, and that's what we do at Wayfinder Schools. We meet these students where they're at. We need these students as well to graduate, because that ticket, that high school diploma, is the ticket into adulthood. When you think about markers of adulthood, they need that one ticket. to be able to raise families here, to get jobs and pay taxes, and be part of our economy and our communities as workers, going on to post-secondary education with whether it's through community college or getting a certificate with CNA, or going on to a 4-year university or college. So, and these students are fully capable. We just have to give them a leg up and hold them closely and create really an intervention in that path, sort of downhill. And when we intervene with work like ours, you can completely change a kid's trajectory. We support the missing narrative in education, which is not being addressed around the country. And that missing narrative is already out of school students. When we hear conversations about the dropout rate and the national dropout rate, and let's make sure we keep kids in school, we're forgetting about this whole group of kids, as I mentioned, 2,000 kids every year in Maine that are already out of school, and no one's addressing that. But I believe Wayfinder is directly addressing that every day. And thank you, steering committee, Lori, Cindy, Susan Koch, I don't know where you are. Hey, okay, that is sitting down again. And certainly Nancy for leading the charge and getting this group of incredible women together, because I do know we can make change in Maine and be noticed in Maine in regard to being somewhat of a movement for women making change in kids' lives. So thank you so much. I'm going to, and I can talk on, and I won't, because I have my colleagues here tonight, and I'm thrilled to introduce Joseph Hufnagel. Joseph, I'm not ignoring men. I'm just letting you know that. Anyway, I'm thrilled to have you here. Joseph runs our residential programs. We have 2 residential programs, one in Camden and one in New Gloucester, where our students live with us for 9 months, and it's a pretty intense but incredible 9 months that he leads. Martha Kemp, my 2 scholars that are my right arms in terms of curriculum. Martha works, she's the director of the Passages program, which is our teen parent program. We serve teen parents all over the state of Maine, and we send teachers into those teen parents' homes and deliver education to them, because oftentimes they can't get to school and they don't have daycare. So 2 incredible programs, and I would love Joseph Hufnagel to come up and chat with you about the work that he does. And again, I work with incredible colleagues and scholars who, many of them have advanced degrees, and they choose to do this work because they know it's the right work to do.
Amazing. What an honor it is for me to be invited. I've been blessed throughout my life to be surrounded by talented, brave, courageous women. I consider my 95-year-old grandmother, my 68-year-old mother, my 4-year-old wife, and my 4-year-old daughter, Zoe, to be 4 of my best friends and teachers in my life. So it's an honor to be invited tonight. Thank you. I am so proud of the program that we've created at the Wayfinder schools. We have 2 residential programs that one is in Camden and one is in New Gloucester. We have 10 students in New Gloucester. We have 8 students in Camden. And on each campus, we have a team of 9 residential staff members who, like Dot said, are some of the most extraordinary people on the planet in terms of what they bring to the work, their dedication, their life skills, their life experience, and their passion to help students to move positively forward in their life. I was lucky enough to land at Wayfinder Schools in 2008, right shortly before Dot was here. Martha greeted me at the door, and I've been there through a lot of evolutions of the school. And going about 3.5 years ago, we merged with Opportunity Farm, as many of you know, and took what we were doing in Camden and replicated another residential program right on the campus in New Gloucester. I bounced back and forth between the 2 campuses and my 2 teams, trying to create curriculum that not only meets the standards of the state in terms of Common Core learning standards and in terms of skill acquisition and post-graduation skills, but also the goal is to inspire and empower the students. And these are incredible students. I mean, these are incredible young people. When we're going through the admissions process, the number 1 criteria that I'm looking for and our team is looking for is honesty. We say to the students, we're not looking for anyone to be perfect. We just need you to be honest. And if the students can get to that honest place in their life in terms of putting the effort in and doing the work that's needed to have happen to graduate, but also to be honest about what they're hoping for in terms of accomplishing in their own lives, their goals. So, students, they come to us for a variety of reasons. They all want to have a safe place to live. So typically the students have some kind of dysfunction at home. Most of the students have experienced some kind of trauma or abuse in their life, not all of them. They've been struggling in traditional settings for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's substance abuse that's keeping them back. Sometimes there's been a big gap in terms of their having some truancy and big gaps in learning. Sometimes there's a gifted and talented student who is brilliant off the charts and doing calculus, but has some kind of social anxiety or is getting bullied or marginalized at school. We have an extremely high proportion of students of color at our residential programs, and when they land, it's all about every year starting new and trying to build a community and a team that works together. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of is not only does the curriculum challenge and inspire and lead to students going to college and different post-graduation experiences, but if they stick through the 9 months, and this goes for the staff as well as the students, it's impossible not to be transformed in some capacity, to grow emotionally, and to, and we laugh, but one of the overarching goals is to try to get a group of teenagers to live together, boys and girls, and to think about other people other than themselves. And that's, that's people think we're crazy that we're even trying to do that, but that's what we do. We ask the students to be other-centered. We ask them to do a lot of volunteer work. We ask them, their classes consist of a range of green initiatives, social justice, diversity. There's a mentoring credit where they're working with elders, and they're also being mentors to younger students. They have some incredible classes like documentary film class. They have a creative arts program. They have their math and science. We work in collaboration with the local school districts, with the adult ed programs, with the special education departments. The students start off their day doing yoga. They start off their day going to the YMCA's. They have scholarships at the YMCA's. And then their first actual class of the day is to go to work at their career exploration. So they all get apprenticeships locally. And so like Dot was saying, in terms of flipping, students, it's also flipping and shifting paradigms in terms of how the students, when they first meet, walk in our doors, typically they have very low self-esteem, and they've been told how bad they are. Over and over again, or that they're not going to amount to much, and instead of hiding from all the things that they've struggled with, we try to take it directly, take it on directly, so that they have opportunities to be out in the community to show the goodness in their heart and what they're capable of. So they actually become ambassadors for at-risk youth. To show that that we're all at risk, first of all, and then second of all, that we all have capacity to contribute and to do great things. So we travel all over the place. Every weekend there's an expedition. We go on longer expeditions. We go to New York City for five nights every year, and the whole staff and the whole student team goes. And we go on longer camping trips. And the idea is, at the end of the day, and I have to sum it up, I think I'm getting that look, right? Is that we want to create a culture at the community school, at the Wayfinder schools, excuse me, that it's based in the social justice lens that Dot so beautifully emulates, but also that that we're always coming from a place of compassion and hope. So thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the support that you all give to us. We couldn't do it without support from folks like you. So thank you.
Okay. I run the Passages program, which is a very different program in that it serves teen parents and now in 8 counties. When I first started here, we were only in 3 counties. So we've grown from 3 to 8 counties. We've grown from serving 20 teen parents to now serving 50. And hopefully by the end of this year, 60. Our new county that we're moving into is York County. And the program evolved out of the residential program when one of our students got pregnant while she was in the residential program and couldn't stay in the residential program. And we realized at the time that the third highest reason why a young woman leaves high school is early parenting. And at that critical time, and when I interview students who are interested in being in Wayfinders, they're saying, I want to be back in school because I want my daughter, my son, to know that I completed school. They are re-energized to be in school, but it usually, in many traditional schools or regular schools, it's difficult to stay. There's stigma, there's other issues. It's hard to have, you don't have childcare, you don't have anybody to watch your child, so you end up leaving. The 50% of students who leave high school because of teen parenting usually don't graduate from high school well past age 26. We actually graduate many of our teen parents well before that, and well before 22. And I don't want to talk too much about Passages. I love Passages. I love our students. I love our staff. Cindy Stevenson, a Passage teacher, is here with her two students, and they're going to let you know what it's been for them and their experience. But I asked both Selena and Lindsay, what are the more important points that make the program work? And there is a distinct difference between the residential and ours in that ours is self-paced and students may be in it for a year, maybe up to 5 years. But think about it, we probably are all parents at one time, try to raise a child, try to go to school, try to hold down a job. You need more time. That's just the way it is. There's nothing wrong with that, you just need more time. So they pointed out that the thing that made the most difference to them is the self-directed aspect of it, that they can work at their pace and that the children can be with them. And the important piece, and the piece that stood out for me, Lindsay, when you said it, is that your child is there watching you learn, and they're learning as well. And so that's a key thing to hopefully turn the cycle of dropping out of school, keeping their children in school. And it's something I'm really proud of being a part of and watching it grow. The counties we're in, and I just want you to know, is Androscoggin County, Cumberland County, and I always have to kind of go through my head here and think about Lincoln County, Knox County, Saginaw, Waldo, and Washington. Is that 8? Or York. York is our new one, so York is a new one. The other reasons why a young teen parent, and I say teen parent because if you're actively parenting, whether you're a father or mother, you can be in our program. And there are very few programs like that where they will include the father, and I think that's an important piece to single out. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Lullaby, thank you. Yes, I brought it right here. There's so many wonderful things that our students have been able to do while they've been in the program. Recently, they got to meet with and work with Lily King, author Lily King, who just recently wrote an amazing novel called Euphoria. And they spent a whole morning on writing. It was a wonderful experience in Brunswick. But other programs and other things that they get to do, and one that's been so exciting is we recently participated last year for the very first time with the Carnegie Hall's Lullaby Project. It was a project that worked with halfway houses and women in jail who weren't able to write a lullaby for their own child. And it was so successful down in New York, and they moved out into the outer area of New York, they decided they wanted to also offer this opportunity to other people in other areas. And Bay Chamber Concert Series in Rockport happened to be a site where they wanted to come, and we jumped at the chance. And students get to meet with professional musicians, and they talk about what their goals and hopes and dreams for their children are, and what the unique qualities of their children, what they want them to remember. And then together with the musicians help write a song. Then they get to actually record it in a professional studio. Her studios up in Camden donated their time, which I'm so happy and pleased and excited by, Heather Hurst and her husband. And at the end, they get a final professional production piece, and it goes on the Carnegie Web Lullaby Project site. So if you go to SoundCloud and look up Bay Chamber Concerts or Passages, you will hear some of the amazing stories and songs that these students have written. What moved me the most was watching a young boy who hadn't seen his mother because she was in jail get to listen to his song over Skype with his mother and hear a professional song. And one of our students' piece was actually performed down in New York City at Carnegie Hall just last May. So that was an exciting piece. And we're going to do it again this year, which is even better. I'm just thrilled. So those are the kinds of things that some of our students get to do. But I'll end with the fact that one of the most rewarding piece is to listen to their passage, which is their final project that they do. And they pick something that is meaningful to them and or is addresses a fear or take a risk or a passion of theirs. And they develop that project with the team who helps them outline what they need to do and how long it will take and what kind of resources you need and who do you need. And then we say, bye-bye, you gotta go do it on your own. We're here to help you. We're here to, if you need it, but you have to ask. We're not going to step in and tell you how to do it. You have to do it. And the projects are just amazing in what they have done. One young woman last year who was bullied all through the years because she happened to be a big woman. I relate to big women, tall women, and she was bullied all her life, and she decided she was going to go back to her school, and for her whole school of 94 students, she presented a whole day on Challenge Day on bullying. She talked about LGBT bullying, she talked about cyberbullying, she brought in she got to talk over the line to, I'm blanking on the name, but the author who wrote the book on bullying. And he spent an hour and a half with her on the phone. And when the principal heard he'd been trying to reach this person, he said, I can't believe you got a hold of him. I've been trying to reach him and I can't. But she did a whole day of challenge activities, brought in outside speakers, and that was her project. They're just amazing. And it's that at the end of the 9 month when Joseph talked about the transformation, that's the transformation we see with our Passages students. So I will end now, but I want to introduce two of our students who are currently in our program and are planning to graduate this year. And I wonder, which one should I ask to come out first? I'm going to pick Lindsay Hinckley. Lindsay Hinckley lives in Brunswick, and she currently works at Wild Oats.
Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Hinckley. I am 17 years old. I was asked to speak this evening to share a little of my life story and my experience with Passages program. Growing up, I didn't have the picture-perfect family. My parents were in and out of jail, and I was in an environment full of drugs and alcohol. I do not share this story for sympathy. I share to show my resiliency. At the age of 13, I found out I was pregnant and already 5 months along. I had no support other than my boyfriend's family, who at the time were strangers. I now call them mom and dad. My plan was to complete high school and be a graduate. Classmates found out I was pregnant and rumors and threats were spreading. What saddens me is it was my older sister and her friends making the threats. I left school and was homeless, bouncing from one home to another. On January 30th, 2012, a bright light in my journey was born, Addison Marie. A healthy, beautiful baby girl. I moved in with my boyfriend's family and they moved to Brunswick. I started back to high school, but it just wasn't working. Being away from the baby all day was hard, and making it to doctor's appointments was difficult. My school guidance counselor introduced me to Willow Wright. Willow brought me to her teen parenting group, and this is how I heard of the Passages program. I've been a student in Passages for 2 years now. What I truly appreciate about this school is that it's self-directed. I work one-on-one with my teacher. My daughter can be present. Then the education is providing me with the life skills and academics to be a better parent and person. 2 great things have happened from what I have had to endure as a child and young adult, besides having Addison. At the age of 5, I learned how to cook out of necessity. I have always loved to cook, and Willow introduced me to Becky, the owner of Wild Oats Bakery in Brunswick. I was able to apprentice at the bakery and earn a little income. Well, that was 2 years ago, and I work close to full-time now. Part of my duties include training new employees how to bake and decorate and coordinate kitchen duties. I love my job. In January of 2014, I became emancipated. I am very proud of this accomplishment. It was a long process, but I learned a lot about myself. Sitting in that courtroom and looking out at those that had come to support me was great, but yet looking at my mother and stating why I needed to be emancipated was an awful feeling. In closing, I see myself graduating this year. By having this diploma, it gives me options. At this time, I really enjoy my job and have thoughts about opening my own bakery someday. But my next goal is to have my own place to call home, something I never had but want my daughter to experience.
My name is Selena Lay. I'm 17 years old. I have a beautiful baby girl named Leah Marie Lay. I found out I was pregnant when I was only 14 years old. I lived in Old Town with my mom, and I was scared and I didn't know what to do. I was only a freshman in high school at the time and I was on probation. But the one thing I knew for certain was I was going to do everything I could for the baby growing inside me. I found out about a program for teen parents in Bangor called Good Samaritan, which I started when I was 3 months pregnant. I thought about dropping out from time to time. It seemed like an easier thing to do. On July 16, 2012, I gave birth to my daughter. That day changed my world. Her father left when I was pregnant, so it was just us. I spent every second with her that I could. My mom tried to help me as much as she could, but she has MS and is quite sick. When school started back up in September, I didn't get to spend as much time with my daughter as I wanted to, because I was in classes 4 days a week. It was hard not being able to be with her all the time. Then I started a job when I turned 16, which took more time away from being with my daughter. I felt like a bad mom because I wasn't with her all the time. On October 28, 2013, my mother kicked me out. I had no place to go but my father's house in Washington. I didn't know what I was going to do about my education. I thought I was going to have to drop out. Then I found out about the Passages program at the Wayfinder school. Passages helped me out a lot. I get to learn from home with my daughter. I get to study new parenting experiences from my teacher and from other students. My teacher got me hooked up with an amazing program through the Career Center in Rockland. They're helping me get my license, get a job, and go to college. I'm thinking about going to college to become an RN. Not exactly what college I want to go to, but I'm thinking about taking a couple classes at URock in the fall. I'm really excited to be able to give a good future for my daughter and me. I didn't mean to get pregnant at such a young age, and most people would say it was a mistake. But to me, it wasn't. Before I got pregnant, I never thought I would graduate. I probably would have been in jail or even worse. Now, thanks to my daughter, I'm on my way to creating a better life and go to college, so she can have the life that she deserves. And I want to thank you all for listening to my story. This is such an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
We really do want to make a difference in the lives of these kids and give opportunities to kids coming up through the school system who aren't a fit and need an alternative. And this program has proven to be so successful, but as you can hear, we're reaching 8 students in the residential program in one location and 10 in the other.
We have a total of about 80 students right now, which is as big as a small high school.
Right, and what do you think your capacity, what would you like it to be?
Oh, capacity 200.
Yeah, so we really need your help. Those of us who, many of you have already stepped up and joined us in this cause, and what we're trying to do is, with this group of women, is to commit to a $500 contribution for the next 3 years. And that's really just barely scratching the surface. What we also would love for you to do is share these girls' stories and the kids' stories at the Wayfinder schools with your friends. We'd like to embrace the power of women in Maine and really focus on this and make a difference. So consider joining us, Women for Wayfinders, and please share this with your friends. Each of us reached out to our friends and hoped that they would do the same, and maybe they would find 5 friends. And if we were accused of creating a pyramid scheme, yes, it is a pyramid scheme, but it's a good one. But many of my friends weren't comfortable going out and talking to their friends and asking for money. So those of us who are we're getting good at this. And if you have friends that you would like us to share, the story with, we'd be happy to do that. But encourage you to think about joining us and asking your friends to do that as well. Thank you.
And I am happy to come speak to a few of your friends at tea in the morning, at your local coffee shop, or I'm just thinking, Cindy had me at her house the other night for, it was called Drinks with Dottie. And we had a wonderful conversation about this issue. And I think that's what women do well as well is use dialogue as a place of learning and as a place of social change. So we sit and we talk with one another in a circle and learn about, okay, how do we make change and through relationships. So anyway, I'm happy to come to your house or meet with you in a small group, et cetera, just to share what we do. So thanks so much again.